Great. It's great, Monica.
Thank you. Yeah, fantastic. As always.
So the book is so new. Well, now it's out. Is that what you're saying, or not quite? Not as of
quite.
today. I can't find
middle
it.
of August, it should come out.
Middle of August. Good for you.
Yeah,
that is very cool. How long have you been training with Terry? Just real quick.
I started training with Terry like 2 Februaries ago.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you recommend his training?
He is incredible. I have never seen something work so well and so quickly.
His name keeps popping up.
Yeah. It does it? Good.
Oh, yeah. Keep hearing about Terry Real. Yeah. From therapists, from clients. Yeah. So good to know. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you bet.
That was really good. What would be the best advice you think you ever got before you got married?
Oh, I talk about this in the book. The best advice I think is to pray together daily. And, you know, whether you're religious or not, some version of connecting emotionally, physically, spiritually, like connecting to each other and connecting to something bigger than yourself. So whether you see that as God or the universe, whatever works for you, but just knowing that that you're connected to each other and something more powerful than you.
Wow.
That's great.
And doing that every day, I think, is the absolute best marriage advice I can give.
I would say, yeah.
What a great ritual.
Yes.
It is.
That is something we practice, and not only with my wife, but my kids too.
Yes.
But yeah, it really does.
Yes. I think it's such a great lesson for your children to know that they're connected to something bigger than them.
I just did a quick search for some of the worst marriage advice online. And I was
I'm curious.
Yeah. If you're not happy, you married the wrong person.
Ooh, that's a chapter in my book.
Oh,
that's good. That's a good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would just say that's, you're not going to be happy every day when you're married. That's just.
Yeah, you want to feel the full spectrum of human emotion. That's actually 2 chapters in my book. Like, if you marry, like love shouldn't hurt. So if it's hurting, you're in the wrong, you married the wrong person. But the reality is, and this is a big Terry Real teaching, he talks about the mysticism of marriage, that we are uniquely attracted to somebody who is the best qualified to poke us where it hurts, right? So you may have, there's probably hundreds of people out there who are not going to like really trigger us in the ways that we need to heal. But those people, we were not attracted to them, right? It's like the people who are enough familiar to the kind of wounding that we had as children, but who have additional resources. So that's why it's so powerful. Like, of course, that's why they call marriage the people growing machine, because you have the opportunity there in the bounds of like a loving, committed relationship. You have the opportunity to grow and heal all of that childhood wounding. So your partner's not going to heal you. What they're going to do is re-injure or reopen those wounds so that you have the opportunity to heal them with the loving support of a partner, right?
That's how you know you're with the right person, right? I often say that.
Say that again.
Right? That's how you know you're with the right person, when that old wounding keeps getting that bad sunburn, right? Keeps getting scratched.
Exactly. So and that's what's so powerful about relational life therapy is you're really like learning about that wounding and being able to heal it. Like what the second phase of relational life therapy is going in and reparenting that adaptive child. And we always want to honor the infinite wisdom of that adaptive child because they got you to where you are. So we say adaptive then, maladaptive now. So it's like this amazing inner child kept you safe, kept you protected, helped you be successful growing up. But now they're no longer needed, right? They're still taking care of you in that childlike 7-year-old, 12-year-old state. So now we go in and reparent that inner child. We kind of put guidelines around it. And we, as our wise adult selves, deal with our partner. That's how we heal. It's when we reparent that inner child who gets in the way often of our romantic relationships. So, but we have to marry somebody who's going to hurt us in order to have all of that, right? If you marry someone who's never always going to give you exactly what you want and everything that you ever dreamed possible, you won't have the opportunity to grow in those ways.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. It's like going to the ice cream shop every day. It's not going to serve you very well in the long run. It's better to avoid conflict than to upset each other, which is perfectly from what you were saying, is you need somebody to push your buttons. You got to push the envelope to grow. And there is this myth that good couples don't have conflict or don't have arguments, but it's actually the opposite. I think statistically it shows people who don't argue are the ones that are most likely to get divorced.
Yeah. Yeah. And not to mention that relationships, and we know this from like Ed Tronick studying, baby and mother interactions and things like that. All relationships are a cycle of harmony, disharmony, and repair. So it's not the conflict, but the repair that creates trust and resilience and health, right? So if you don't have that opportunity to repair, you're not building that really strong, trusting relationship. So even infants and mothers who he studied for years and years and years, there's always going to be connection, disconnection, and a return to connection, or harmony, disharmony, repair.
I had not thought about that. So true.
The couple that doesn't fight, they're not having the opportunity to repair either.
And it would seem that they're not even really being intimate truly, because they're not revealing anything that's bothering them or they're thinking about or anything.
Yeah. Big red flag.
Yeah.
In fact, when my son told me he wanted to marry this woman, I said, have you guys ever disagreed about something? How did that go?
That's a good question.
Yeah, it is.
The next one is, once trust is broken, you were actually talking about this, it can't be repaired, but it's the repair process that will strengthen a marriage. Now,
yes.
Marriage is about making me happy.
These are the myths you've been reading.
That just throws up a huge red flag to me. We should always feel in love.
That's another chapter, right? Yeah. Love is all you need.
Oh, man.
Thank you, Hollywood.
Yeah.
It's all good in song now. Here we go.
So that was a Beatles song, right? Yeah. But all the Beatles are divorced. So
that's Monica.
Makes you think.
That's perfect. That's very true, because that actually reminds me of somebody I used to look up to. I was looking at how they raise their kids, and I'm like, gosh, they did a good job with that. And this other person rock musicians that actually did like each other. The one I thought was really cool and I used to like when I was growing up, his kids are like, I hate to say it, they're just wrecked. But the one I didn't care about, his kids grew up really good. I'm like, gosh, he's got to be a really good, loving father. And he's been married for, 30 years. I'm like, maybe I'm misjudging the character here. Like you said, with the Beatles, they were all divorced.
So, well, they sure made a popular song about love is all you need.
Do you have that in your book, Monica, about the Beatles? Or
I do.
Just because
it's like one of the top of the chapters. It's like,
cool.
Love is all you need. Written by the Beatles, who are all divorced.
Nicely said. Wow, you got some real keepers in there. I can't wait.
That's a real. That's what social media and pop culture is all about, being popular and saying whatever is cool and hip, and don't look behind the poster or the page or the picture, or whatever, just look at this pretty shiny thing. And it doesn't really work like that. There's one about boundaries on here that I saw and I want to bring up. This is a funny one. Just have more sex. It'll fix everything.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I don't really mind that one. Solve more problems with sex, but I get it.
That's a good one. Unless you Yeah. Unless it's somebody feels obligated, then you create a lot more problems. Of course. Right?
That's what's so great about your book. It sounds like, Monica, is that you have that, misinformation, bad advice, and then you explain it, because I could also see that bad advice like, I could twist that in my head. You know what I mean? Where it's like, that really makes sense. But that's why I'm so glad you explain it. Because it's like, of course. Well,
I think the thing that's so important to remember, and I probably don't emphasize this enough in the book, is it's all very well-meaning advice. I mean, the people who are giving this advice probably truly believe it, and it has helped them in some shape or fashion. So I don't think people are out there just peddling bad advice to like ruin you.
Yeah.
But, a lot of times you have to think about it and think like, is this really helpful? I mean, it sounds helpful, but like, here are the ways in which it can be damaging, and here's a better way to think about it.
The one on here, I thought I could see people misunderstanding, is you shouldn't need boundaries in marriage. It says why it's bad. Healthy boundaries protect intimacy and prevent resentment. Lack of boundaries leads to burnout. Do you talk about boundaries at all in the book, or do you have any advice on this?
I don't, but I do feel very strongly that boundaries within your marriage and boundaries around your marriage are both very, very important. And that's a great thing to talk about in that kind of premarital counseling that I was talking about, is just understanding the boundaries between you and the boundaries around you.
Yeah. I would think that, some people would think, because, there's this Moonlight and Roses painted picture by especially movies that just, you get along perfect and you won't have to have boundaries. The birds will sing when you walk by, and
look through each other's phone. That's great.
Yeah. So, I would say, switching gears a little bit, you gave the best, I asked you what the best advice for you was earlier. And I'm curious, Liz or Dave, do you have like any advice that you really felt helped you when you first got married?
I still think, I heard John Gottman say this. I remember once asking him, like, what is the difference, John, about marriage disasters and marriage masters, as they often call them? And pardon me. And he said, you know what? It's what it comes down to is be kind. And I suppose we could even look at that negatively too, Monica, right? Like, not be kind to a fault, but even just that softened startup of just, I got to remember that I really love this person. I chose him or her for a reason. And I like that. I like trying to just be kind first and foremost, even being kind and trying to work through the compromise, or the collaboration or the curiosity, not the compromise. Sorry, Monica, not compromise. I'll get this down yet. I like that. I love this whole thought of collaboration, cooperation, and being curious.
Yeah.
So that's mine, being kind. And Dave, you're so kind. Oh. That probably just comes natural to you. What do you think? What do you think?
Oh, you're very kind, Liz. I think another C to add to that is compassion. I think Wally got her, Wally and his stuff. He talks about getting our hearts right, with humility, compassion, see the things from the other person's eyes. And some of that is, perspective taking and being slow to react. But I love that, having compassion, seeing others with those compassionate eyes, because he says people do things for reasons that make sense to them. And I think, I guess if I could, it makes sense to them, or they wouldn't do it. Even a child or whatever, they hit their brother. Oh, it makes sense to them. It wasn't maybe the most helpful thing, but in their eyes, it makes sense. And so trying to see things from another person's perspective, we'll never truly understand it because we haven't experienced that, but trying to see, I can see why they would react that way, or that they would, be grumpy, or they're a yeller, or whatever it is. Even if you don't agree, I can see, why they would do that. So early on, I was big, and then Arbinger, Institute. So I went to BYU early on, and a lot of that Terry Warner, Terry Olson type stuff that I was able to, I don't know, it's very eye-opening for me, I think, and helps a good foundation for our own marriage.
So one of the aspects of real life therapy, and I'm going to get you guys to really look into this before we're done here, but that I love about relational life therapy that you don't see in other modalities is they do trauma work in the presence of the partner. And that goes to that compassion. It's so powerful when you're doing trauma work or inner child work, and your partner is sitting right next to you, seeing it. It creates so much compassion. So it's not like all of a sudden what they're doing is okay, but it's like you understand where it came from. Like they came by it honestly, and you just have, it's very moving to see like a partner who, they've been at such odds with each other. And then all of a sudden they realize like, what their partner went through, like what their childhood was like, all the compassion that they all of a sudden have for their partner, right? And they're like, oh, we can get through this. Like we can figure this out. But now they're understanding where they're, originally their idea was so irrational. Why is my partner so irrational? Why are they so, like this? And then you could see it. And it creates a lot of compassion.
Yeah. Love
that. Reminds me of a story a guest we had on recently told about. There was a couple, the wife wanted a dog, or they were about to get married, and she wanted a big dog that would sleep on the bed. And the husband was like, I don't want this at all. And it was a huge bone of contention. Do you guys remember this story?
Yeah.
And
we should help them collaborate on this.
So what the person, the therapist or whoever they did said, they asked him why, like what was it about the big dog? And the girl went into this story about how when she was young and her parents divorced, she was really sad and upset, but she had this big dog that like really brought her a lot of comfort and made her feel protected and safe. And the husband hearing this had never heard this story before, I should say the fiance. And by the end of it, was like tearing up a little bit and like, okay, well, do you want like a Dane or, a large poodle? And because he was able to empathize and understand more where she was coming from, what it meant to her. It wasn't just some narcissistic want or something. There was something attached to that. And, like you said, the empathy of understanding why somebody's doing something. And
so with my babies, I wanted to co-sleep, and my husband wasn't so sure about that at least for a little while, right? And so they make this, it's like a co-sleeper, but it attaches to the side of the bed. So it would be like my husband, me, and then the babies in their own little, bed on the side of my bed. So I could quickly roll over and nurse or do whatever I needed to do. But the baby's not between us. And I'm thinking about the same thing for the dog. Just get a little co-sleeper thing for the dog. So it's husband, wife, dog. The wife gets to have the dog on one side and her husband on the other.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. This has been a great thing to talk about. I'm looking forward to this book. Wow.
Oh, well, Monica, this has been, such a great conversation. Thanks again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. It's always a fun.
Thanks for joining us today. Hey, do us a favor and take a second to subscribe to our podcast and the Utah Marriage Commission YouTube channel at Utah Marriage Commission, where you can watch this and every episode of the show. Be sure to smash the like button, leave a comment, and share this episode with a friend. You can also follow and interact with us on Instagram at Stronger Marriage Life and Facebook at Stronger Marriage. So be sure to share with us which topics you loved or which guests we should have on the show next. If you want even more resources to improve your marriage or relationship connection, visit strongermarriage.org, where you'll find free workshops, e-courses, in-depth webinars, relationship surveys, and more. Each episode of Stronger Marriage Connection is hosted and sponsored by the Utah Marriage Commission at Utah State University. And finally, a big thanks to our producer, Rex Polanis, and the team at Utah State University, and you, our audience. You make this show possible. The opinions, findings, conclusions, and recommendations expressed in this podcast do not necessarily reflect the views of the Utah Marriage Commission.